Okay, thank you everybody. So I was already introduced before. So presently I am the professor in the Department of Electronics and Computer Engineering, and recently I was appointed as a Dean of Institute of Engineering. So I was visiting. So this is my very brief introduction, so which Mr. Parajuli has already talked. Now let us go to the main subject matter. So why we require machine learning? So let us start with that. So today, because time is little limited, so it's about 70 minutes allocated to me. So what is my plan is I'll try to introduce the machine learning. I'll talk about few Python code. So using Jupyter Notebook. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So why we require machine learning? Okay, let us start with this, the basic concept. The basic concept in the machine learning, that is the programming computer to optimize the performance criteria using the past data and experience. Why we use machine learning basically? Where human expertise doesn't exist, just like the simple example is the navigating on Mars. Humans are unable to explain their expertise, just like speech recognition. Solution changes in time. That is, the example is routing on a computer network. So solution needed to be adapted to a particular case. Example is the basic biometrics. Okay, now let us go to the basic little broad about what is a learning. So learning is one of those everyday terms which is broadly and vaguely used in English language. What learning should make is learning is making useful changes in our mind. Learning is constructing or modifying representation of what is being experienced. Learning is a phenomena of knowledge acquisition in the absence of explicit programming. And there is actually, I like this definition given by Howard Simon in 1983. So learning denotes changes in a system that are adaptive in sense that they enable the system to do the same tasks or tasks drawn from same population more efficiently and more effectively next time. So normally, the physical, how we do learning physically, that we convert into the algorithm. Normally, I always prefer to say, when, especially to my student, when you were very young, when there is a candle is lighted, then in the young time, when the kids will be around one year, in that time, must have touched the flame of the candle and must have burned the finger. And next time, when you catch the hand of the student near to the flame, so the baby, they will react. They don't. They react in the opposite direction. Another example of basic learning is all the kids when they are in 2.5 years, when they try to climb the ladder, 2-3 steps, every kids they fall down, and finally they learn how to climb the ladder. So these are basic example, and this type of thing we want to convert into algorithm. So that is the basic concept. Now, when you go for machine learning, This is the study of algorithms that improve their performance at some tasks with experience. So what is the experience? The experience is the basic heuristics. So we talk about heuristic in this case. Next thing is we are going to optimize our performance criteria using example, data, or past experience, which is a part of the heuristic. Now there is a role of statistics. We infer from the samples. And another is the role of computer science, that is the efficient algorithm to solve the optimization problem. So we have to do the optimization problem. It can be convex problem, it can be concave problem. So that is basically maximization and minimization case, and representing and evaluating the model for inference. So these are so why machine learning is required now? If there is no human expert, if human expert is not there, where we can get the efficient use, just like the case is industry, manufacturing control, mass spectrometer analysis, drug design, astronomy discovery. Another case is the black box human expertise, just like face and writing, speech recognition, driving a car, flying a plane. Another we can use in rapid changing phenomena, that is a credit scoring, financial modeling, diagnosis, fraud detection, and we need the customization and personalization, that is a personalize the news reader, movie, book recommendation, and all this. There are a lot of examples like this. So these are the basic related fields when we talk about the machine learning. So it involves very huge field. So machine learning, to be expert in machine learning, we should have knowledge about a lot of things. So earlier the Ganesh sir, he talked about big data and all these things. So when we go in machine learning, we have to talk about the data mining. We should have the idea about the control theory, decision theory. We have to talk about the cognitive science. We should know few idea about psychological model, neuroscience. We should have an idea about the evolutionary model. So that is the genetic algorithms and all those things. Database, then information theory and statistics. So machine learning is primarily concerned with the accuracy and effectiveness of the computer system. So these are the basic paradigm for the machine learning. So the starting point is the rote learning. So what the rote learning it says is, if you can memorize something, then don't calculate. Normally I ask my student, okay, 12 12 is 100, 44, 13 13 is 169, 19 19 is okay. Then we have to do the calculation. So that is the basic principle of rote learning. If somebody can memorize, then don't do the calculation. Whichever is fast, we use that. Another is the learning by being told. What is the basic thing is advice taking. Another is learning from example, induction. That is a induction learning, learning by analogy. So I'll take a few examples in this limited time. And speed of learning. Another is the speed of learning. These are the concept learning, clustering, discovery. So there are a lot of cases in the paradigm of machine learning. Okay, now let us briefly talk about this, the framework for learning framework. So in learning framework, there are four major components in learning. This is the basic block diagram. So everything we get from the environment. So whatever thing for learning we get from the environment. And this thing, it goes to the learning element, because each and every part we can talk about 10 minutes, but I don't want to go detail of this. So there will be learning element. Then this learning element, it goes to the knowledge base. After knowledge base, it goes, arrow is not visible properly actually. So environment, there is an arrow showing here. So learning element, then it goes to the knowledge base system, then it check the performance element, and the feedback is provided to the learning element, and the process it will continue. So important thing for the learning framework are these four components. Environment, it provide you all necessary information. And what is important thing in this case is the information which is provided by the environment. It should be ordered, it should be noise free. So there are a lot of processing units based on this. And the learning element, it does other manipulation. In this case, the knowledge based system, it does the algorithmic complexity part and all those calculations. And the performance element, it gives the feedback to the learning element, and the process, it will continue. Now, there are different types of learning. The supervised learning, that is the inductive learning. What we have in this case is there is a training data, and it includes the desired output. So I will talk a little about SVM. I will talk a little about iterative dictomizer to make the decision tree. So another is the unsupervised learning. So training data doesn't include the desired output. So there is no teacher signal. So basically, another is the semi-supervised learning, because most of the cases I have used this semi-supervised learning. During training phase, I use supervised case, and during testing case, I use unsupervised case. So it's a semi-supervised learning. So training data, it includes few desired output. Another is the reinforcement learning. So the reward from the sequence of action, we provide the reward. So how much the time it will permit, I'll try to explain with the example for this case. Okay, not this conclusion. Okay, let me go to another little more detail. Now, let us see a few things about the supervised learning. So what we have, so this is basically inductive learning, so supervised learning. So what is the basic problem? We induce a representation of the function, a systematic relationship between input and output. So we have a target function. So our function is x implies y. The example, it will be x, and there will be function of x, which is the output. Then we provide the hypothesis g, x implies y, such that gx, that is equals to fx. So where x is the set of attribute value, so this is the attribute value. X, it is the set of logical sequence, that is the first order sequence, predicate logic. Y is the set of discrete level, that is the classification, and this is the regression basic. So I'll try to talk with few example about this. Okay, the very good example, because normally when we go for iterative dictomizer, normally I prefer to take this example, decision tree. So basically, I use iterative dictomizer 3. So iterative dictomizer 3, it has a two version. One is C 4.5. Now there is a modification, that is C 5.0 and J48. So C is developed in C programming and J is developed in Java. Okay, Java code. Now I will show you Python code for the decision tree example. So the basic philosophy for the development of the decision tree is to calculate the entropy. So what is entropy? Entropy, that is the disorder. What is disorder? Disorder means is the information. While calculating, while making the decision tree, we are going to calculate the entropy. For our case, we require minimum entropy. So that means the disturbance should be minimum. And you can make a decision tree. I'll show you the Python program. So this is the decision tree, and based on this decision tree, we can make the rule. So just quickly, pattern, whether the people are there in a restaurant or not. So none, that is false, some true. If it is full, wait time, how much wait time, this is the estimated wait time. Then we go for alternating, whether there is a reservation or not, whether it's a Friday or Saturday, and whether there is a bar or not. So whether the person is hungry or not, if there is any alternate restaurant. Another is whether there is raining or not. If there is no raining, then the people will leave. If it is raining, then the people will stay. So this is the basic. So I think in your program, you are going to talk about detail of this iterative dictomizer also. Let me just show you some coding part for this quickly. Okay. So basically you can do in three cases. One is using the Jupyter notebook or Google Colab, or if time permit me, then I will show you, I will share you with the quantum experience also. I have just modified one program for quantum computing, if the time permits me. So I'll talk about that quickly. So because that is our future in terms of machine learning. So later on, if time is there, I'll just talk quickly about this. So I have got a lot of modules in this Jupyter notebook, because as being in teaching profession, because we have to explain to the student different type of cases. So let me go. Okay, let me talk about diabetic iterative dictomizer case. So okay, so no, not this. Sorry. Actually, I have. So most of the code actually Python 3.6, 3.7, I modified the code in that way. Okay, I think you can see the Jupyter notebook.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let us go to the example of the diabetic case, the analysis, what is done using the iterative dictomizer, because I don't have time to explain all detailed mathematics based on this. Using this Python code, let me try to explain very basic thing. Okay, so just see, I'll just quickly explain the code. So this Python 3.6 is used and we load the library. So pandas, that is as PDs. So sklearn. So sklearn, using this sklearn, we can import the decision tree classifier and we can split the model, that is a train and test split. So what is important thing is normally we have a set of data. First we have to train the data, then we can test the data. Training and testing ratio, it depends upon the case, yes. It may be 90% data we can do for training, 10% for testing. It can be 80-20, that is 80% data for training, 20% for testing, 70-30, or it may be 60-40. But we go especially for deep learning, then we can go for 60-20-20. 60% data for training, 60% for testing, and 20% for validation. So using sklearn, so sklearn we are calling. So in next example, I'll show another Keras example also. So we define the column name, that is the pregnancy, whether it's pregnant or not, what is the content of glucose, so BP, skin, insulin, and all these things. So I am loading the data. So that data is in CSV format. If the data is a big data, then either we have to use in comma separated variable or tab separated variable to minimize the space. So the first row, that will be the column name. So it is keeping the first row. So skip row 1. Like this, we are having the feature column now. So body mass index and age, glucose, and all these things. So we do the training. There is a training, all this. The accuracy is calculated. And we import sklearn. So this is for graphical display. So all these are graphical display because time doesn't permit me to explain all these things. And this is written as a PNG file, that is a diabetic PNG. And the criteria is entropy. So I have already told what is the entropy, basic entropy. Entropy is a disorder. And in root, we have to put that attribute which has lowest disorder. So which will have the lowest entropy. So this entropy, it is calculated. So there is a training and testing data. So I hope during your training program, you will learn this in more detail. So then we can make the accuracy for this case, training and testing accuracy. Normally, in terms of technology, it will be very hard to reach accuracy 100%, which is virtually impossible. If somebody they say their accuracy is 100%, there is something fishy. So for this case, we can draw this is the tree. So the tree, it can be drawn like this, and the trainee who join this program, they will learn detail about this all cases. So this is one example in Python code. The same iterative dictomizer that was developed in C programming, so that is C 4.5, and the modification is C 5.0. The Waikato University, they have a Weka tool. A lot of students, they make use of this tool also. And they use J48, that is developed in Java. Okay, now let me go to again the little more about the theoretical part. Then again, I'll talk about some coding part. So if my time is exceeded, you please interrupt me. Okay, so this decision tree part, quickly I try to explain because just to talk about the decision tree to my student, I spent 1.5 hours talking about code and calculation and all these things. So I have to finish this within 10 minutes. So you can easily imagine. So this slide is visible, right? Hello?
छैन सर, यो फेरि एकचोटी शेयर गर्नु पर्ला सर, स्टप गरेर शेयरिङ मात्र भने चाहिँ आछ छैन। स्टार्टेड शेयरिङ भनेछ तर आछ छैन सर।
त्यसले अलिकति टाइम लाग्यो होला सायद।
हो, फेरि एकचोटी शेयर गर्नु सर, आउँछ होला।
आयो
सर, यस।
Okay, thank you very much, because all this is due to the bandwidth. So, okay, let me go to next part now. So I'll just quickly explain. So this thing I have already told. So recursively splitting, so we calculate entropy, we calculate the information gain. Now these are the basic decision tree. So we have to make a good tree. So all of you are familiar that if we have 5 attributes and if you go up to level 5, if you generate the binary tree, there are a lot of possibilities. So that's why we have to put some criteria. That criteria is entropy. So this is the decision tree boundary. So we can make a boundary, we can segregate it. Now next is the artificial intelligence. So I'll talk briefly about the backpropagation, because all of you are familiar with the history of the neural network. The basic that started with McLaughlin, and they did the simulation for AND and OR gate. Yet after 26 years, then a lot of problem with neural network. It was realized in 1969 about the perceptron. Then again, when the backpropagation system is developed, then people, they became, they started widely using the neural network. Now, when we go for deep learning, so most of the models, they are basic modifications of neural network, putting, increasing the hidden number of layers. So just we have input unit, then you do the calculation, we have different weight, we have to calculate the value of the weight and all these things. So there is a feed forward single layer perceptron, multi-layer network, and there is a recurrent cyclic, which is the Hopfield network and Boltzmann machine. So These are the basic case. Now, so what is the key idea in this case is adjust the weight change the function representation by the neural network. That is, learning is optimizing in weight space. So we iteratively adjust weight to reduce the error. So what is error? That is the difference between network output and target output. We observe the weight using the perceptron training rule, linear programming, delta rule, backpropagation. And we have an activation function. There are several activation functions. So it can be unipolar sigmoidal activation, it can be bipolar sigmoidal activation, it can be hyperbolic tangent activation, which is also one of the sigmoidal activation. It may be ReLU, it may be leaky ReLU, or it may be softmax. So there are a lot of things, because depending upon cases, we have to make use of the activation function. So this is the basic neural network learning. We have a decision boundary. So single layer perceptron. So this is the basic for single layer perceptron, and this is for multi-layer network. So general. And important thing in this neural network is the learning rate. So if we put small learning rate, then the computational complexity, it will be very, very high. If we put large learning rate, the system may not converge. So these are a lot of cases when the people, they develop the model, we have to make a compromise. And most of the case, learning rate, we can take 0.01. So that is a normal practice, and has to do trial and error and check it, and which will be better, then you can do that. Okay, so before than that, okay, let me go to some coding part. And I will just show you the demonstration of exclusive OR gate using backpropagation. So I hope you can see this Jupyter notebook.
छैन सर त्यो यस जुपिटर नोटबुक आछ सर
आयो अरे
हजुर
Okay, so now this backpropagation using exclusive OR gate, this is developed using the basic Python code without importing any built-in function, because I prefer the student, they should learn starting from the basic code. After understanding that, then they can import the built-in function, sklearn, Keras, TensorFlow, OpenCV, and all those things. So this is made, developed with the basic Python code. So what is tkinter is import. Tkinter means is basically to provide the input value, and this the author is Sushant Parikar. So few modification in this code I have made. So the NumPy is imported. So NumPy, that is basically for mathematical calculation, so numerical Python. So
हजुर सर त्यो पुरानै सरको पुरानै नोटबुक देखिरहेछ सर त्यो ट्री वाला नयाँ
ये
नोटबुक
पुरानो देखिरहेको छ
हजुर
ए पढ्नुहोस् है ओके okay, now you can see.
हजुर हजुर सर अहिले आइहाल्छ
Okay, then math. Importing the math and import the random. Now, the first case is we are creating a class that is GUI class. So we can import the value using this GUI class. So input, what will be the input? What will be the this learning rate and all these things. So I hope you, all of you understand this. So it will be clear. So after running, this is the basic GUI development. So it's a graphical user development and it's done from the basic code. So after doing this, after making the GUI, so this GUI, it will be developed. How many epochs you are going to take, what is the entry value, answer, number of epochs, and all these things. So this is the basic part of the GUI. Then we enter the values. The value is taken, how many hidden layers are there, enter the hidden layers. So general code, you can just see all this code. So these are, what is the number of epochs and all those things. Now this part is the initialization of the weight. So we generate the random number. So all of you are familiar that the initial weight we generate randomly. And the sigmoidal activation function is used. So this is the basic sigmoidal function. So this sigmoidal function is 1 by 1 plus e raised to power minus x is defined here. And the hidden layer is given here. Then the training process, it will start. So feed forward. So the signal is going in during training phase. We feed forward the signal. Error that is propagated in backward direction. So error propagation is in the backward direction. So now the calculation is done. The hidden layer and all these calculation is done. Then the output value is calculated. So this is a gradient. So delta value. So for all the cases, for we have a 2 input, we have a 1 output. So that is for the exclusive OR gate realization. So normally when we go for neural network, this will be the first exercise in backpropagation. So the weight is updated now. See, this is the weight update. So plus delta WH or WIH. So this is for B is for bias. So we have to provide bias also, because in every system there will be bias. Bias means it will be shifting from actual position to another position. So now hidden layer and all this calculation is done. Then we define the epochs, because this algorithm is an iterative algorithm. So, okay, let me run this. Okay, so this is the GUI part. So my input x0, y is also 0, number of hidden neuron, that is 2, and learning rate is 0.1, and number of epoch, because it doesn't require so many epochs, so that's why default is taken as 1. Then there will be 2 cases. Then you have to train it. You have to, then you can predict it. So train it.
सरले नोटबुक शेयर गर्नुभएको कि अर्को स्क्रिन शेयर गर्नुभएको छ अहिले?
यो आएन?
आएन सर, नोटबुक मात्र देखियो।
ए भन्नुस् त्यसो भए यो उडै शेयर गर्नु पर्यो, स्क्रिनै शेयर गर्नु पर्यो।
डेस्कटप नै शेयर गर्नु पर्यो।
ओहो यो GUI आएन है?
आएन सर।
Okay. So I will share. Where is that? So all window. Okay. Share. Okay, अब ऐसे करो। Okay, last year I'll share the GUI only. Your GUI
देखियो सर अहिले, देखियो।
Okay, now we can train it. So it will take little time. Okay, then predict it. So you can see the value. So 0.01. So this will be approximately equals to 0. So XOR get. So put this 1. Okay, let me save this. Save the value. Train it. So it will be little slow. The another option is go to the Google Colab. So Google Colab, it has a GPU which is Tesla K80 GPU. So okay, so you can see the values and all this. Expected answer is 1 and answer we got is 0.750. So there are errors and all those things. And this, the same code, you can run in quantum computer also. So I don't know how many of you have registered yourself in quantum computer. Maybe in the last I'll try, if the time permits, I'll show the same code running in quantum computer. So it will be fast. Okay, now let me, so you can check this. You can make few modification in this and you can run it. So that's how we learn the Python programming. Okay, now let me go to little again theory, because now I think I have 25 minutes left. Okay. So the screen is coming?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So decision boundary for neural network learning. So this I have already told. So single layer perception, what are the limitations of single layer perception? All of you are familiar. It can do the simulation of single separation only, very general case. It can do for AND gate and OR gate. So if we go in more complex case, it doesn't work. We have to go for the back propagation. Now, in back propagation, if we have two hidden layers, it can solve normally most of the problem. Now we are in the time of big data. Data is very huge. This classical algorithm, it doesn't work. we have to go for the deep learning, recurrent neural network, so convolution neural network, GAN, generative adversarial neural network. So there are a lot of cases, VLSTM, LSTM, and all those things. So I hope you will learn all these things during your course. I haven't seen the content actually. Okay, now next is support vector machine. This is also one of the supervised learning, and it has a kernel. So we talk about the hyperplane, and SVM, it will be good for the result. The accuracy is high, but the computational complexity is very, very large for SVM. So we have a kernel trick. Map the data into high dimensional space where there will be linearly separable. So we can do the linearly separability. So learning a classifier, so optimum linear separator is one that has the largest margin between positive example on one side and negative example on the other. So that is a quadratic programming optimization. So because I don't know, some background it was set for the trainee also. I hope you are familiar with the linear programming. You are familiar with the basic concept of integer programming, because all these are the basic thing. Yes. Okay. Raise hand गरे थियो एउटा. Okay. Hand raise गरे थियो. Okay. In the last, I'll give some time for question answer. So in that time, so SVM support vector machine for classification, because all of you are familiar that when we talk about the supervised learning, that is basically the classification, and unsupervised learning, that is for clustering. So this is the classification. We make a kernel. How we make a kernel? Just simple basic case. What is the key concept? Training data inter-optimization problem in form of dot product of the pair of point. What is the basic concept of dot product? If two vectors, they are orthogonal. Orthogonal means is 90 degrees separation. Then dot product, it will be 0. So we calculate the vector, what we call is support vector. So weight associated with the data point are 0, except for those points nearest the separator. So that is the support vector. So we calculate the vector. So we have to generate the vector in this case. That's why we call these as a support vector machine. And this is the kernel function. So xi, xj, function that can be applied to the pair of points to evaluate dot product in the corresponding high dimensional feature space F without having to directly compute. So you have to make an equation. So xi, wi, summation xi, wi, and all these value 0, -1, +1. So we have three equations, then we have to calculate. So efficient training and complex function. So this is the support vector machine decision boundary. So see, if you do the separation for this case it will be complex. Now this is the best part. And you have to calculate the support vector, which is nearer point. And you have to make an equation. So equals to 1 - 1 + 1. Then we can calculate the decision boundary. So that is the basic. So this is a linear kernel. there are a lot of modification in support vector machine. One is twin SVM, and there are several cases in SVM. Okay, let me just show you. Okay, I don't have more time. Okay, this will be my last code demonstration for SVM. Okay, I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
So most probably one last example, what I can show you of SVM PCA, okay, support vector machine. Same time. I don't know where I put this. SVM. PCA, HIS. Okay. Let us not waste time to check this. So if some of you are interested, you can contact me later. Let me go because I don't have more time. So because I want to give some time for question answer also. So let me focus in the theoretical part. You can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir, we can see now.
Okay. So support vector machine. So we have a decision boundary. Another is the Bayesian network. Bayes network. So you are familiar with what is the Bayes rule. So Bayes rule is based on conditional probability. We have to calculate the conditional probability. So this is the basic Bayesian network. So if there is a burglary, there is an alarm. If there is an earthquake, there is an alarm. So the alarm means there will be neighborhood call. So earthquake neighbor. So we make a network like this. So network topology reflects direct causal influence. So there are algorithm, very general algorithm. Normally in practical cases, just like if you talk about Amazon algorithm. So Amazon, they use two types of algorithm. So you can go to the net and check A10. Now the Amazon, they have A10 algorithm. If your data is less, basically they use naive Bayes algorithm. Although accuracy of naive Bayes algorithm is less, but it is very much preferable than support vector machine, because computational complexity of support vector machine is very, very large. So Amazon A10 algorithm, they make a modification in naive Bayes. And the basic principle of naive Bayes is this Bayesian network. So we use this conditional probability. In Amazon, if they have to do the analysis of big data, then they use deep learning algorithm. So if you are interested, you go to the net, you just search Amazon algorithm, and you'll have a lot of idea from that. Okay, so now let me just continue with this. So what is the basic task is to compute the probability distribution for unknown variable given observed value of other variable. So this is A with A union with B. So you can calculate this, the value, because we have a probability, right? And you can calculate the value. So this is the basic Bayesian network. So the Bayesian network learning, what are the basic concept in this is, so we have a node that is the attribute, which is the random value. Then we talk about the conditional independence, because all these are based on conditional probability. So an attribute is conditionally independent of its known descendant, so given its parent. So we make a three-type structure. Conditional probability table, so conditional probability distribution of an attribute given its parent. So Bayes theorem, so normally I explain my student about Bayes theorem is very simple case about symptom and disease. So if you have headache, if you don't feel like eating, so there is cough, there is a blood strain in the cough, then what is the disease? It may be tuberculosis. So disease is condition to symptom, and we can make a Bayes theorem very easily. We can remember the Bayes theorem very easily, because a lot of students, they study Bayes theorem, and when I ask them during their master's program, most of them, they forget. It's a very simple thing. The problem is they study this in a theoretical basis. Probability of A condition to B. What is A? What is B? Nobody damn cares. If the same thing is explained, probability of disease condition to symptom, then I think nobody will forget this. And that depends upon the Markovian model. Which order Markovian model? Because Bayes theorem based on Markovian model. Whether is a first order Markovian, is a second order, is a third order. So what we call in text categorization, gram, first gram, second gram, third gram, n gram, and all these things. So that is the basic mathematical concept. And after understanding the basic mathematical concept, people, they can make an algorithm. So important thing is, should understand the basic mathematics behind it, and the algorithm development, it will be easier. So if you are good at one programming language, you can do any other programming language. So that won't be so big deal. Only a few syntax, it will be different. Okay, so just a little more. Find the most probable hypothesis given in the data. So remember, when you talk about the hypothesis, there are two types of hypothesis. One is alternate null hypothesis, another is alternate hypothesis. If null hypothesis is true, we are very happy, but it won't be true. We have to go for alternate hypothesis. When we talk about alternate hypothesis, then we have to talk about the confidence interval, which is the very basic principle of probability and statistics. So we define the confidence interval and all these things. So we calculate the priori, posteriori, and all these cases. So we make the setting, so fully observable, parameter learning, unknown structure, so all these. So then we calculate this, and there is another case, what we calculate is EM algorithm, which is the expected maximization algorithm. So all these are there, so that will be another basic algorithm for classification. So Bayes rule we can use. Another important thing is nearest neighbor model. So what is the basic concept of nearest neighbor? We calculate the Euclidean distance. Based on Euclidean distance, then we can calculate all this. So nearest neighbor principle. So I have a coding for this also because I don't have time. So I can't demo the code for this. So this is the basic decision boundary for this. So we can calculate the decision boundary. And there are a lot of cases, learning logical theory. So the basic concept, it comes from the discrete, after studying the discrete structure course, which is basically discrete mathematics course. So because basic background are required to understand all these cases. So these are general theory. Normally you study these type of things in predicate logic, especially in artificial intelligence AI course. So I hope you are familiar with this, because important thing, what I always say is, everything via data or statement, there won't be equation. Equation we make for analysis, because normally I always say to my student, your father, your mother, or your relative, maybe big doctor, big engineer, big mathematician, you never ask your father, father, please give me x plus 500 rupees, where x is 500 rupees. Nobody acts like that. You directly ask, okay, give me 1,000 rupees, not x plus 500 rupees, where x is 500 rupees. Everything it will be data. Everything it will be statement. That data and statement we convert into equation to make analysis easier. So that is the basic concept. So that's why when you do analysis of the statement, we convert that into the first order predicate logic. So this is just, see, we have an input, father, Phillips. Phillips is father of Charles. Phillips is father of Anne. So if you write this in terms of sentence. So like this, similarly, mother, mom is mother of Margaret. So mom is mother of Elizabeth. So we convert this into the logic. So that is a predicate logic. And we can do the inference based on this logic. So the basic inference, it will be, this is the bidirectional condition. So this is existential quantifier. So we use the existential quantifier. Now we can convert all these things in terms of program. So basically for this, in the starting stage, we can use Prolog, and same thing we can do in Python. So logic programming and all these things you can do it. So okay, what is the time now? I think I'll stop now. If anybody has question, okay, sorry, I could not show you the quantum simulation. So you can register yourself to the quantum computer. which is IBM Quantum Experience. You have to register there, and you can make use of the quantum computer. If you write the code in basic Python, it will, you can use that. And now the quantum computer, it has even developed TensorFlow 2 version is already developed in quantum computer. So you can do image processing and all this type of application using quantum computer. So that is the IBM quantum computer, which is possible now. Okay, so if there is any quick question, anybody has quick